This is the talk show that takes a no-holds-barred approach to politics, where truth and integrity are the standard and the Constitution honored. From Renaissance Studios, this is Champion News Talk Radio.
Good morning and welcome to another great edition of Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net, your choice for the conservative voice. This morning, our founder, Jack Roser, and myself have the honor and privilege of having Congressman Randy Hultgren with us. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning. Good to be with you both. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Roser. How are you today?
Oh, I'm just fine. You're a congressman from the 14th District.
Yes.
Tell people where that is.
It is Kane County and Kendall County. It's kind of the heart right along the Fox River, is the heart of the district. It's got a little bit of DuPage County and then goes west all the way to Iowa. Good, great area to represent. A lot of agriculture. It had been a very strong manufacturing area for many years. We've seen a huge attack on manufacturing in the last few years. So a lot of our companies here in Illinois are struggling, but we're going to fight to turn that around.
Your district is, you were elected in a different part of the district before. Madigan disrupted everything. And
yeah, well, that's my current district, is the one that goes towards Iowa. The new district, the new 14th, will still be mostly Kane and Kendall, a little bit of DuPage, and then go down into Will County, south Naperville and Shorewood, and then up through McHenry, up to Lake County, up to the Wisconsin border. So I'll border Paul Ryan's district to the north, and then it's basically a wraparound of all of Metro Chicago area. So much more suburban area, still a little bit of agriculture, but a lot of small business, a lot of suburban, a lot of commuters.
Well, Madigan really changed the situation.
It was horrible. I mean, it really was a disaster what they did, and Illinois is a laughingstock in so many ways. Our economy is so bad. The debt is so bad. The pension crisis is so bad. But also how we draw our districts, where a couple politicians choose who's really who the leaders are going to be, who the elected officials are going to be, rather than have the people choose.
You're a likable guy, and I've heard you speak on the road. And you speak to a lot of the problems. When Madigan disrupted all of the shapes of the different voting districts, he ruined the association of people with their congressmen.
That's right.
Which you once were. Now, some of it's different and not as bad a damage as some places, but that was a rotten thing to do.
It really was, and it's so discouraging for people. As soon as you start building relationships, that really gets broken up. Communities of interest are absolutely divided up in the Democratic map that they passed. The Supreme Court, the courts, it was actually federal court that this was brought before, said, yeah, you know what, this is gerrymandering, political gerrymandering, but we're not going to overturn it. This is, again, really a disaster for Illinois, but we're going to fight through it. I think we've got the right candidates, Republican candidates, running in the right districts. We're going to win.
One thing that's noticeable is we now have 3 more congressmen than the Democrats do.
That's right.
And I'm 88 years old, and that's never happened in my lifetime.
Yeah.
What did it was the Tea Party people helped 4 people, you one of them, to be elected in a return to real American values.
That's right.
And that worked.
It did work.
And a lot of people think the Tea Party isn't going to be very effective in this election. I think they're probably going to be more effective.
I think so too. I think they're very engaged still. They want to have candidates who are accountable, listening to them, understanding the struggles that they're facing, frustrated with this out-of-control growth, unaccountability in Springfield, unaccountability out in Washington, D.C. So again, I think we've got the right candidates to win in November and really surprise Madigan and others.
I really think, though, that this time right now, and with all the craziness that's going on in D.C. and our pension crisis here in Illinois, I think folks are looking for solutions and actionable solutions for change. Congressman Hulgrens, you know what? You represented Illinois on both levels for the House of Representatives and the Senate. That's a nice experience to bring to D.C. What is the difference? What do you see as the difference between being a state legislator versus a federal legislator?
Yeah, I've had the privilege, really my entire career, I've been a part-time legislator, I've been a small businessman, worked in finance, I'm also an attorney, worked in people setting up their estate plans, which is a really difficult thing right now with all the changing laws out there and changing taxes. But during that time, served in the county board in DuPage County, served as a state representative and state senator, now in Congress. I'm absolutely convinced that best government is local government because you can keep a close eye on what people are doing.
Should be closest thing, but now you're in major things. And the big thing is the health care thing.
Right.
That they are pushing that thing down on us. I don't want a bureaucrat deciding what my care is.
I agree.
Our school system is an example of single payer.
Right.
And it stinks at high expense. Our K-12 system, and especially in Illinois, nationwide, it stinks. Costs a lot of money. In international tests, it shows that out of 30 countries, industrial countries, we'll be about 25th in science and arithmetic. They're doing a lousy job everywhere, particularly in Illinois.
Yes.
High cost. That's a single payer system. And that's what they're heading for in the medical thing.
I agree. You know, what frustrates me again is putting a bureaucracy in charge of something never works. We see it. Where it should happen is letting patients be able to make decisions with their doctors. And I see it in education, letting families make decisions of what's best for their kids. We've done that. My wife and I homeschool our kids. My wife does most of the work, but my oldest son just graduated from high school. They go to a Christian school in West Chicago. The older kids do, the younger kids are homeschooled. But those choices are important, and my fear is that we're going to lose those choices in healthcare with what the president has been pushing.
Absolutely. Michael Brown, did you want to say something?
I did, because that's one of the things that I really like about you is you are a true blue family man. And that means a lot to me because we homeschool our kids as well. But it's interesting because I've talked to a lot of doctors who say, if you want to reduce the cost of healthcare, you got to get government out of healthcare.
That's right.
The regulations, the mandates that they've put on it, which makes me realize that government caused the cost of healthcare to skyrocket, and now they're supposedly coming to the rescue to save it. I mean,
it's notable when you brought up a good thing in this whole deal. It's notable there's not a single mention by Obama ever of getting rid of the attorneys that have run up arguably the cost of our medical care by about 30% because the doctors are afraid of getting sued. And he's dropped that thing totally because why? Because of the trial attorneys like this rascal, what's his name, John Edwards, that ran for president and cheated on his wife, cheated on everybody.
His sick wife,
and where did he make his
dying
money?
wife.
Suing doctors.
Right.
And here Obama done not a damn thing about that.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
Outrageous.
It is, and you know the high cost. We see it here in Illinois, where we've lost a lot of good doctors because of the high cost of malpractice insurance. Lawsuit abuse is rampant, especially in Cook County and Madison and St. Clair County down in southern Illinois. We really are a cesspool for the nation as far as bad lawsuits being filed. And people say, well, you know, that's just a limited cost. No, it isn't, because it drives up defensive medicine. So doctors are not practicing medicine. What they're doing is they're creating a paper trail with the thought that ultimately they may be sued. So even if they do everything they possibly can to do the right choices of caring for their patients, they have to do tests, do different things that they know aren't really going to help their patient.
Congressman,
with the idea of really having...
you've done a wonderful job of explaining that problem. And I'm glad that it's on our program where you are doing that in sound and pictures, and we are going to repeat that.
Yeah, good.
Really good job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think there's examples out there of doing it the right way. We've seen it some states, some other countries who have put even like an administrative court. So you take this out of the idea of someone winning the lottery if they get hurt by a doctor. Let's make sure if someone really does get hurt that they get cared for and provided for, but this abuse of the system doesn't happen, and you don't have doctors running in fear, basically, and practicing medicine in fear.
I understand Texas has got a system like that.
They do. And it's working wonderfully, and we're seeing a lot of great Illinois doctors leaving Illinois to go practice medicine in Texas.
This is a federal nation.
Yep.
We've had a test down in Texas.
Right.
It ought to be more like that than Obama,
I agree.
Who's giving us a Russian or some kind of a Arab arrangement. It sure in hell isn't an American one.
Yeah, and you know what? People want to be able to see their doctor. They want to be able to get seen quickly. They want their doctor to be able to use medical judgment for their care, and that's being taken away right now with Obamacare, with the health care that's been pushed through. And we've got to change this, and the right place to change it is in Congress. We're going to vote on that. We've already voted on it. Last year we voted to repeal. We're going to vote again to repeal and put in the right reforms that need to take place so we got quality care at a cost people can really pay for.
He acts like if the federal government doesn't do it, you don't get medical care. 2 years ago, when he was pushing that blasted, rotten bill, I was upset with the idea that nobody gets their care. I made a list of 18 different ways you can get medical care without going to the federal government. The fact is, people are not being kept from medical care in this country right now, with or without Mr. Obama. 25% of the hospitals are Catholic hospitals. Another whole bunch are Lutheran or Jewish or charitable of one thing or another. And those hospitals are required to take anybody.
Yeah.
That's the law.
Yeah.
And so everybody's got coverage.
Right.
The county hospital or your family. There's the biggest thing that we've run away from.
Yeah.
You know, when we come back from the break, Congressman, you were mentioning Texas, and obviously they have implemented things in healthcare that work. I would like to hear some of what you'd like to bring on the federal level for solutions that they're doing in Texas, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from that, more about that when we come back after the break. Stay with us.